So now the starter's out and it's been given a little bit of a clean up. I'll be removing the top cover and these 3 bolts with 8mm heads, and then we'll look at the contacts inside which are attached to these fasteners. To remove the input contact, simply remove this 14mm nut and then thread the assembly out from the inside, keeping hold of the O-ring and the washer that is under the nut. To remove this side, you remove the left nut, which is 12mm, followed by the inner nut, which is 14mm, while holding the bolt head with your finger just to stop it coming loose and rotating. To reassemble the input contact, put the bolt head through the copper contact, then through the shim if you're using one, through the plastic bush, and then insert those all the way through. Make sure they're well seated. Then have this small O-ring that goes over the end, and then you will use the washer followed by the nut, which is 14mm head, and just nip that up. To reinstall this side, thread the bolt through the copper contact, not forgetting the pickup, the little shim steel pickup, through the plastic bush. Pop the plastic cup on the outside. Inside is a small rubber washer. On top of that, you put a steel washer to hold the whole assembly in place and make it waterproof. Then thread on the 14mm nut, tighten that down, just needs a gentle nip. Then put over the contact for the wire. Then put over the final 12mm nut and nip that up as well. And then reassemble the cap, making sure that it pops over the little lip all the way around. Having reassembled the contacts, you can see they're sitting nice and flat, the little shim just holding it up to even out the levels. Make sure the solenoid core is nice and clean, the plunger, and that should move freely in and out. When it goes down, it should make a nice even contact both sides. The large copper washer does have a little bit of give as it's mounted on that spring. Should make a nice, clean, even contact. You can now reassemble the cover. I'll be giving the rubber gasket just a little bit of lithium grease just to stop it corroding and sticking to the aluminium body. Reassemble with the 3 of 8mm head bolts and just nip them up gently. So now the cover's back on, the nuts have been nipped up. I'm aware that I'm missing the little drain covers. Unfortunately, they're made of very brittle plastic and rubber, and both of mine have fallen off, so they'll have to stay off for a little while. And just a quick sanity check. Nice, smooth movement. Fingers crossed this will fix the starting problems. So just before reassembly, I decided not to leave the drain holes open due to the splashing of water. So I've got 2 small pieces of silicone pipe that are a nice tight fit in there, just to help stop any errant splashes getting up inside, but still allow any water to drain out. So the starter's back in. It's very narrow, but I did manage it on an automatic without having to take off any hoses. Just a lot of scratches. The two main positive cables are reattached. The small ignition cable is attached, little clip-on one, and all the bolts nicely tightened up. We've got the battery reattached, positive and negative reattached, everything's strapped down. So, moment of truth. Let us see how this gets on. So again, before, particularly when it was cold, it really didn't like starting. So we shall see how we get on. Right. Everything priming up. Everything started nicely.